very beautiful. It's irresistible quality in women. So we look at the beautiful women in the world, and I've been with women, I mean, that were knockout cover girl models, and seeing them in all their glory, and nothing. It's because of that air of conceit that they were just too well aware of their beauty, and it became a turnoff. So intimately, nothing was happening in the bedroom, so to speak, if you get my drift. So this is a very chemical thing. It this attraction that people feel for one another, and I had that with my first wife. I definitely was smitten by her, and she blessed me with 3 beautiful children, and 2 are surviving. And here I'll share a couple of pictures of my daughters. And this one was in the town of Cottonwood. It's a little township south of Reading It's in southern Shasta County. But this was probably at about 1989, shortly after my wife and I had broke up, and probably I took a trip up to Cottonwood to see my dad, my stepmother. It was a property that we used to own jointly up there. And this picture, I'm thinking, because it looks like my youngest daughter, Kristen, is about 3, and Jennifer is probably about 4 or 5. But look at these little girls. This is what God gave me in this marriage. Look at that. I don't know if it's focusing, but look at that. I mean, what wouldn't you do for those little girls? Look at. But here's when they're little. This is one of my favorite pictures. It's so photogenic, but you can see it's kind of faded and dull from being out so often. I mean, looking at it. Hopefully I have some negatives or copies somewhere. Old school film, but if I've got any pride and joy that I just thank God for above all else, that is my daughters, and of course their mother, who I will always cherish in my heart, our time together. And so I've made a lot of peace, is just blessing her. She moved on a long time ago and got remarried and had an awesome daughter, and so she doesn't want me. She's made that clear. So it's been many, many, many years, and so I've had to let go. And I finally feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm able to do that. And discovering this girl of my dreams, literal in my case, is just I'm just holding out hope that this can come to be. But I've got to turn it over to God, because I'm so nuts about this, and anybody that's heard me lately can see it's just kind of possessed me. And I just I don't know how to describe it, really. Like I said, I don't care about riches. I really find it a turnoff. I feel like I've got too much. When I go to sleep at night and I think about how much I've got, and I think, I've compunction, and I welcome God in. I want God to convict me and to show me where I need to improve myself and to be a better man. And that means making him happy and her happy, God happy, my owner, my divine parents, making them happy so that I can find more happiness. I've got to do that thing. And being a rich man is not one of those things I think that's going to make my parents happy, because I've got to look at what I already have and see the spoiled brat in me. And then I've got to think about those people that are, better men and women than me, that are going to die or at least suffer out on the street and in the cold tonight. Not criminals. If they were, they'd be safely ensconced behind bars at a cost of $50,000 a year per inmate, if they become that financially desperate and commit a crime. But no, these are the ones that Jesus said, these are me. These are the least of men, and I am the least of men, even though yes, I'm the Son of God, and yes, I'm the Son of Man, but I'm also these. So yes, you should want that compunction, and I've got that. So I'm never going to attract a mate, the right woman, by touting, my riches. I can't talk. It's not true. I don't have those riches. But in my mind, I'm already too rich. I'm already too prosperous. I'm already spoiled, because I care first and foremost, above all, about God's opinion of me. And I would like the woman that I attract to understand that she's never going to supplant that relationship, nor should she want to. And vice versa, that she has to have her own strength in and be grounded in her relationship with her owner, and know that she can't expect me to ever take that, nor should I want to. God is a jealous God. I'm a jealous guy. I mean, God, the idea of another man slipping a ring on that pretty little ring finger of hers, I mean, it just, wow. I mean, God will give me the strength to handle it. I know that, but it scares me. I mean, and I know that, I'm probably going to get emotional, and I'm certainly not above weeping. I've done it, and it's okay. It's just draining, I'll admit, and I don't like being weak, but remembering that in my weaknesses, His strength is perfected, that, somehow He'll get me through it. And then I'll start saying, okay, well, she had this flaw and that, and she wasn't the right one. It's really what I should just think is that she wasn't meant for me. She was above my pay grade, or out of my league, so to speak, or something like that. But, hey, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a rich man. I mean, but if we get together and we become prosperous, as long as God is above all, at top of the mix, and that we're doing things to make this a better world for the least of men, then I'm okay with more prosperity. But really, I'd like to wait for more prosperity until I see things getting better for those that need it to be getting better for them the most. And I call it the wound on the collective body of humanity, that this desperate poverty, the destitution. I want to see that dry up, and then I could enjoy greater prosperity. Until that time, I just don't see it, because I've got to reconcile everything with my owner. This is what I want to do. I want to be on a short leash with my owner, and I think we should all get that and want that and to be convicted. And it spurs us on to be better human beings, to tame the tongue, watch the things coming out of our mouth. And I look at the title of last week's video, I think, big fat ass Pottersville. And do people even understand? If you Google Pottersville, a lot of people are going to misunderstand it's from this stupid movie. I didn't even know that movie exists till after the fact, and I titled it. But, big fat ass, I mean, people that are overweight could be offended. It's like, that's not my intention at all. I mean, that's a term I remember using since childhood, big fat. But it doesn't sound right. I don't like it. You see right there, I mean, I fail constantly in my life. I misspeak things. I can't, I'm just a very imperfect man in a lot of ways. What do I have going for me? And I apologize to anybody. I don't mean to offend anybody. There's no profit. It's to no avail. What do I get out of it? What do I glean? I mean, does God think more of me by offending anybody, hurting anybody's feelings? Absolutely not. Quite the contrary is true. We're all brothers and sisters, man. All I want is the best for everyone, because I want the best for me. I'm selfish. So being selfish, I realize that the greatest thing I can do is to be selfless, to want the best for everybody. So if I can make a woman happy and fulfill that dream I had as a child of just wanting the happiest wife in the world, that I know is the most selfish thing that's going to bring me the greatest happiness in life, fulfillment, to make me feel whole and healed. So that's what I'm really after. But how do I attract a woman? I mean, I'm no George Clooney, but then you look at, King Solomon, at portraits of him. I mean, he was no Adonis. So what do I have? I got no money to speak of. I'm not a rich man, but I'm a lot better off than a lot of guys. So, and it's just, I just don't care. I don't want that to be the thing that attracts a woman to me. I want her to be attracted by my character. That's all I have, is my character. It's who I am. It's that thing in me that I have allowed God to shape. It's the only real substantial thing about me that's worth a damn. That I really want to please my owner, and I don't want to tick him off. I want to be a fragrant aroma in his nostrils. I think that's a passage from Scripture. But as a metaphor, that's what we should all want, to please God. Because It's selfish, and we're all selfish, right? Because we agree that finding true happiness, which is comprised of a lot of components, facets, and elements, ingredients, whatever. So pleasing Him is first and foremost. And He will show us, He will grant us wisdom to help us understand what we need to be happy. So what do we need? What's at the top of that list of the things that will bring us happiness? Well, I pointed out, I believe it's a woman. I don't think a man can be complete without a woman. I think it goes back to this creation of Adam and Eve and this rib, this missing rib, and a man cannot be content. He cannot be whole. So he's forever yearning and seeking to find that missing rib so that he can be whole, so he can be right, because I just don't think men are right alone. I've compared a ship, without a woman, a ship and a man without a woman as a ship without a rudder. But you know what? It's a good analogy to a degree. It is. A man has very little direction. He's kind of floundering. I mean, he's still useful to some degree because, hey, the right direction wind that he wants to go with his ship can come up and blow him that direction for a while. But it's more than that. It's like a ship without ballast. And we all know that sailboats and ships need ballast. Well, at least classic sailboats. We think of a classic sailboat as a mono hull, one hull. And it needs a lot of ballast. That's the keel. And the keel actually serves a dual purpose. Because if you look at the keel on a sailboat, you'll see it elongated like a fin, right, on purpose. That's so that when the wind blows on the side of the boat, it goes forward. It pushes it in a forward motion. It's the, not aerodynamics, but I guess it's the hydrodynamics of it all. So the boat is propelled in a forward, it doesn't go sideways, because you think, well, why doesn't it go? Well, it's that keel underneath that has to do with directing it. So it serves a dual purpose. It's also ballast. They make it very heavy out of some heavy material, lead or concrete, something like that. It's very dangerous. It's what drags sailboats down to the bottom of the ocean. But if we're talking about a multi-hull boat, the physics are completely different, whether it's an outrigger or a catamaran. We think of an outrigger, it's got one side bigger than the other, right? But it's balanced. And the same with a catamaran, it's two equal side hulls. And then with a trimaran, what you've got is one larger hull in the center and then two smaller hulls. So the physics are completely different between any multi-hull boat and a single-hull boat. That's why you need, in a single-hull boat, you always need the ballast. You always need the keel. But this is what I like in a woman, too, is that, men are floundering and they're unstable. They're kind of bobbing around a lot without a woman. And so a man really needs a woman to be right. I mean, I just don't feel right. I mean, a man without a woman feels kind of creepy, and it's just, he's just not right. It's all, I don't know how to describe it, but I have displayed that over and over, in my mind at least, is that obviously the whole world, gets to see my faux pas. And I say, wow, what a dumbass. What an asinine thing to say. And this is and I could pull these things. I could edit them out of the camera when I catch myself and not say those things and go back and, hey, you know what? No damage done. But, this is growth inducing when the whole world gets to see what a dumbass I can be, and how, as much as I preach about reading chapter 3 of the book of James about taming the tongue and knowing what a restless evil it is, and what a large forest is set afire by such a small spark, and what man can tame the tongue. He's perfect, he can tame the tongue. Well, obviously I'm not perfect yet, but I could possibly reach that state. But again, no man has an island to himself. I'm not going to do it alone. A guy can romance the idea of being satisfied being single, but to me it's just a fanciful notion. It's not going to happen, guys. You're always going to be wanting that. So the sooner you find the girl of your dreams, the better. And it's okay if you're rejected. Maybe it's not the right one, but keep God first and foremost in your mind. Make sure that you don't screw up. It's a godly woman, okay, and you're mature enough. Remember, women, they're more mature about this whole thing, usually. I talk about how women are better than men. I list the ways, and I've got some more. I've got some addendums to make, and I believe that. In a lot of ways, they are. but they're generalizations. But generalizations are fair if they're seen in that context. It's just like statistics. It's like statistically this, statistically that, and people can choose to be offended or jilted or whatever feelings they want to have, but nonetheless, they're still statistical. And so generalizations in that sense are fair and they're statistical. So women are, in many ways, on another level than men.